Hey everybody, Yankee here again. I don't know how much attention you pay to what goes on in New York regarding firearms laws and firearms rights, but New York is a state that has a history of passing some pretty ridiculous laws that do nothing to actually stop crimes. They just demonize gun ownership and try to limit how many people can own guns, how many law-abiding people can own guns, while doing nothing about criminals or crime. They're a bunch of actors engaged in political theater to appease the far left and their billionaire masters, that pay for their campaigns, etc. And they are doing that once again now. It seems that they have passed a new law in New York now that is on the way to the governor to be signed. And it is requiring gun shops, FFLs, anybody that deals with firearms, if you sell them, fix them, whatever, modify them. If you do any of that, you have to post a certain sign prominently in your store now, and you're probably going to have to give a little flyer out with each gun if you return a gun you're working on or sell a gun, whatever. And the flyer is just chock full of facts like you would think it would be. In fact, let me read it to you here. We'll go over it. It says, access to a weapon or firearm in the home significantly increases the risk of suicide, death during domestic disputes, and or unintentional deaths to children, household members, and others. If you or a loved one is experiencing distress and or depression, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988. Well, there's a lot of things to talk about here on this sign. First off, they say weapon or firearm. That way they can include all these things like, if someone kills somebody with a hammer during a domestic dispute, they can count that in their numbers to try to make what they're saying factual. But here's the thing, nothing in that first part of it is factual. There is no statistic that actually proves that suicide rates are at all dependent on firearms. In fact, only about half of suicides are committed with firearms because the firearms happen to be available. How many homes have firearms in them where no one commits suicide? So there is no causal link between firearms and suicide. That's a totally different thing. And to try to diminish it to the point of, just having a gun around makes it more likely to go kill yourself. That is harmful to people. It is a bad thing to say or do. So that's not only not a fact, it's ridiculous. Also, it increases your chance of death during a domestic issue if you have a weapon or firearm. Well, yeah, of course. Most people who kill someone in a domestic issue have a weapon of one type or another, and sometimes it's a firearm. But that doesn't take into account how many times that weapon is being used by the abusee to retaliate against the abuser, for one. And it also doesn't take into account, how many times are firearms present and no one dies? How many times are firearms present and there's no domestic violence? So it's a misleading statistic. In fact, all this stuff up here, unintentional deaths to children, all that stuff, it's just misleading garbage. Now, the bottom part of the sign, I'm all for. I think every gun shop should, in a big old poster on their wall, post all their local, state, county, city resources for people who are depressed or have anger issues or alcoholism, addiction issues. That's something we should do willingly because it's the right thing to do, period. So that I got no problem with. But the rest of the sign, that's just garbage. And they're trying to present it like it's fact when it's carefully worded fiction, backed up by shady math. But that aside, does anyone really think this is going to stop any crimes? Posting these in gun shops, handing these out with guns? No, they don't think that. Like I said, this is just political theater. This is, look at what we're doing. We're degrading these gun people. We're degrading these people that would sell these things. We're embarrassing them with this sign. That's their goal. They know they're not stopping any crimes or any bad guys. Anyone who goes into a gun shop looking for a firearm isn't even going to read this wordy ass sign. And if they get a piece of paper in their bag when they take their gun, what are they going to do? Throw it away later. It's just going to create trash is all it's going to do. So New York City apparently wants to create trash and kill trees. But like I was saying, though, they're going to have to post this. We know it's not going to do any good. So I propose that people put up another sign right next to it. If you own a gun shop, put up another sign right next to it. You could even say, hey, the government makes us post that sign. This sign we even mean. Maybe you could say something like, Warning, not owning a firearm, and be very specific, firearm, makes you far more likely to be a victim of assault, battery, robbery, rape, murder, and other violent crimes. It also greatly increases your risk of being abused and oppressed by a tyrannical government. Also, owning a firearm may increase self-confidence and therefore reduce the risk of suicide. So, those things are all factual. I mean, look at the times people are victims of all those violent crimes. How many times are they armed? Almost never. When they are armed, the outcome's often quite different. It's not as easy or as successful a thing for the actual attacker. They don't succeed as much. So that's very clearly fact. You can back that up with math all day long, that having a firearm on you greatly reduces your chances of being a victim. Also, having an armed society, that greatly reduces the chance of you being controlled by a tyrannical government, oppressed by a tyrannical government. Hell, it's in our Constitution. So that's based up by history and the Constitution. And the last part about owning a firearm may increase self-confidence, therefore reducing the risk of suicide. Well, that's true also. Having a firearm does increase confidence quite often. It also gives people a sense of community. You own a firearm, you get online, you get on the forums, you get on YouTube, you become part of the gun community, you have a sense of community, and you feel more confident in your own abilities. You go out and you practice and you learn something, and all of those things are positive for mental health. So this sign is just as correct as the other sign, if not more so, and I would actually say definitely more so. So like I said, New York City is engaging in a little more political theater, a little more attempt to embarrass gun shops who dare to sell those guns, or people that are, violent enough to want to buy them. But this is something easily countered. So if you are a gun shop in New York, feel free to use the sign I designed or make your own, because they can make us post the one, but they can't stop us from posting the other.